Why do people look at the Dow Jones and the stock market when they're trying to figure out if our economy is healthy or not? They should be watching Bring a Trailer. This is Bid Nerds. We're going to talk about that. The bidding starts now. Bid Nerds is your YouTube card game show. All right, welcome everybody. We are live. It is Bid Nerds Wednesday night. My name is John Polnik, and we are coming to you live from the Container Park in downtown Las Vegas in the Rami studio. My name is John Polnik. Right next to me, right there, is Rami, said studio Rami guy. What's up, Rami?
What's up, JP? What's up, Deeb? How are you guys?
Oh, man, I'm so good. How about you? JP, wouldn't it be nice if they named a studio after you?
Man, one day I can only hope. You guys are listening to my partner way over on the left side of the screen. That is Michael Deeb. He is the only one out of three who is not in the Rami studio. He is in San Francisco. How you doing, Michael Deeb? Thanks for saying hello.
I feel it. I wish I was in studio with my brothers, but that's okay. JP, you know you've made it when they start naming studios after you. I think that is the ultimate.
I think you might be right.
You just have to pay for it.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, Rami, we all pay for it. We just don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. One way or the other, we all pay for it.
Well, I mean, if you go to any college campus, whenever there's some doctor or professor whose name is on the building, that's just some dude that, you know, had an endowment and died, and his parents and the money went to that. So anyways, who cares? All right, welcome everybody. This is Bid Nerds. This is a show where we find the most interesting cars from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites like Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, and P-Car Market, mostly Bring a Trailer. We analyze listings, the ones that we think are the most telling as to what's going on in the market. We analyze the listings, we make predictions, and we always start off by going over our predictions from the last episode. That's right. We actually we'll go right on the show and tell you whether or not we are right or wrong. Tonight's big thing tonight, and then we are going to make some predictions on the second half of the show too, and you can play along. All right, so tonight, the big thing tonight, you guys, I wanted to talk about as we kind of think about our predictions and as we go into this episode. Everyone keeps talking about, you know, nobody wants to be holding the bag when their auction ends on one of these days when the stock market takes a crap. Like we've seen stock market days here in the last couple of weeks where the stock market has gone down literally 2,000 points, 5% in a dang day. But then we're also seeing the last couple of days it's gone up 1,000 points each day. It's all over the place, and people are paying attention to the stock market as if that's the leading indicator of whether or not our economy, that is the United States economy, is healthy. I've got a stat for you guys that I want you to kind of think about as we go into our predictions tonight. I personally don't think that the U.S. stock market, the Dow Jones, really gives you any real indication of what the hell the economy is actually doing. Because listen to this stat, guys. The richest 1% of Americans, that's the richest 1% of Americans, owns half of all stocks. 1%, half the stocks.
That's true. That's
the first stat. The next stat that goes along with that, the top 10% richest people in America own 87%. 80%. That's a real number. 87% of stocks. Yeah. So the bottom 50% of the U.S. Of wage earners or whatever, the lowest 50%, the bottom 50% owns 1% of the stock market.
That's right.
So 1% owns 50%, and 50% owns 1%. And 10% of the richest people own 87%
and you've
of
lost
the stocks.
Everyone.
I mean, if you're not paying attention, I don't know how you miss. I mean, even though I'm stumbling over the numbers there, I don't see how that's difficult to follow along with. 1% owns half.
Kidding.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
that is crazy, right? How much exposure do most average people have to the stock market? Now, that number includes your 401ks and all your retirement plans and stuff like that. So really, I'm looking around going, what's going on with the economy? Look at the values of classic cars, because that's kind of where disposable income is going to. That'll give you a much better indicator of what actually is going on in America when it comes to the economy. What do you guys think? Let us know. Are you paying more attention to the stock market, or are you paying more attention to the classic car market? We're going to get into it. Let's start with the first car that we made a prediction on the last episode and see if that gives us a better indication of what's going on in the real world than the stupid stock market does. Michael Deeb, what's the first car on the list?
All right, JP, this was actually my listing. This is a 1990 Porsche 911 Carrera 2. This was a hot rod, JP. Under previous ownership, this car was treated to a 3.8 liter engine rebuild. So basically the car went from 3.6 to 3.8 using Mahle pistons, and it was also specified with RS camshafts. And then a few years ago, after the car had about 10,000 miles on it, or 8,000 miles on it, the new owner of the car put what do you call it, the Rassant individual throttle bodies with a Motec M84 system to run the system, and it's also got the 997 GT3 Plenum. So all that's on the induction side, and then the previous, and then that owner's also put long tube headers and then a GT3 center exit exhaust on the car. So
why didn't I buy this car?
I was telling you, Rami, this car is amazing.
Sorry to interrupt.
Wicked fast.
Yeah,
like super
no
fast
one
car.
on this panel mentioned that you should buy this car. No one said, Rami, here, we could probably go to the 40 texts that we sent. Buy this car.
Yeah.
That thing is sick.
Unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. So it's got JIC coilovers, it's got sway bars. It's got a short shift kit. It's got a close ratio gearbox. Car's got pole position. It's got RS door cards, Brembo big reds all the way around, and the BBSs. I mean, the car is it's all there. It's dialed in, and it's super nice. The donor car is a 1990 C2 Carrera with a manual transmission and just 61,000 miles on the odometer.
Wow.
So the donor car is worth all the money, and then they'll throw in all of these incredible modifications. JP and I were trying to figure, I don't like just the parts and stuff that are on the car are like 80 grand, and you'd still have to pay to have somebody build it and then dial it in. So all of that has been done over the last 10 years. This is actually a vintage, spec car. Ducktail spoiler, it's all sitting there. The car is on a Montana plate. It wouldn't pass a California smog, but you could definitely register this car in some of the other states, or you could put it on a dealer plate. It's up to you. The owner of the car is a new client of mine, brought the car up from Monterey. We took some fun shots of the car and we brought it to market. So here's where it gets really interesting. According to classic.com, the donor car, the average C2 manual 964 coupe from 1990 is a $99,000 car on average. I recused myself from bidding, but JP started the bidding off at $150,964. Rami, I know you know these cars really, really well. This motor is way more powerful and way faster than the thing that's in your 993 RS. This is a built, tuned in thing with the ITBs and the whole thing. What do you think this car would have brought on Bring a Trailer just the other day?
Ooh. I mean, it's tough. The modifications are like for hardcore Porsche people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those engine modifications are for people who really know it. I mean, I would pay more. I mean, I would have paid like $170 for it.
There you go. So don't say that out loud in case my client is watching. Our car hammered for $134,000, where it's sold on what do you call it, JP? Let me read it to you. 41 bids. So we got really good action on the car. We got great feedback and we got great engagement. One of the things I was discussing with my client as we talked 4 times a day over the last 2 weeks is that he said, boy, Michael, all the dirty laundry is aired out on the line on this one. We got asked about the paint meter readings. We got asked about an oil reading from an oil change in Seattle like 2 years ago. Like every little thing that you could imagine in the receipts and in the description, in the photos, was nitpicked and scoured over time and time again. That being said, we still got great action at the close of auction. We had some big big BAT handles in the room. Everybody, there were several comments of oohs and ahs when Wob bid on the car, which I thought was really cool. So listen, the car met reserve, the car sold, the client is happy. A win is a win. In my heart of hearts, and the same thing you were saying, Rami, is look, you couldn't duplicate this car today for less than $200,000. It's just not possible.
Agreed.
And so by that rationale, I really, when you're in the business, you always want more, right? So like my client's happy, the car is sold, but man, I really wanted this car to get to like JP's number at 150 grand. Like you look at it and you're like 150 grand all day long. Look at all the stuff that's on that car and it's all dialed in. And it's not just a 3.8, it's a 3.8 with ITBs and the plenum and the exhaust and oh my God, and a short close ratio gearbox. It's all there. And it's the
all
best
the expensive
stuff
has been done.
Yeah. So JP, we talked about, you opened the show with, hey, you don't have to watch the market. Watch what's going on BAT. So, John, I'm going to ask you, when you bid 150 and Rami says it should have brought 170 or that he would have paid 170, do you look at the result and say, that's our litmus test for where the economy was at, like the week that we ran the car? Or do you think that car brought all the money and the economy didn't leave anything on the table? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that cars like this are going to continue to do well, but everything is going to struggle to get the high mark at this point. Everyone's everyone's kind of wonky on what's going on with the economy. They're paying too much attention to things like the stock market and the news and their Bitcoin account. At this point, you got to just back off and tune out. And the roller coaster is going to happen whether you're on it or not, whether you like tariffs or don't like tariffs or any of those things that are affecting the economy right now. Whatever the plan is, it's going to take a year to sort it out.
That's right.
Whether you think it's going to work or not really doesn't matter. So buckle up, and I think this car is a good indicator that people are still like, all right, well, whatever. Cars like this, people are always going to want cars like this. Normal people are always going to want cars like this. I think that if the fact that so many big names were paying attention to this car and it didn't make $150 or better means that people are a little bit, they're pulling back, they're contracting just a
little gun shy.
Yeah. I do think that this car missed on a couple of little things. The seats not being leather are a huge touch point. I mean, it's almost it's as big a deal as wheels. If the seller would have spent an extra couple $1,000s on putting the exact same seats but in leather, it just would have made this car over the top. It really would have been the thing that would have made it look like an actual RS. Ride height's a little, whatever. But mostly it's just those seats. Rami, what do you think?
I agree. This is the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, this cloth? The first thing when I looked at the pictures, I was like, and I think the car otherwise is spectacular. I think, what happens with these two is like if the non-turbos, for some reason, they just don't pull the same money. I don't know why, because this car is probably just as fast or not faster than its own year turbo. I mean, it's a really fast car, for what all the work they did to it, and it probably handles better. And with the short shift, it's going to be a better drive. So I just don't think people understand. Yeah. They just don't understand the car and what it is. I'm starting to realize now, and I'm kicking myself. So,
I mean, you actually own a 993 RS, a Euro RS that's parked outside, and hopefully that one won't get towed tonight.
Yeah, hopefully.
Like
it has a British plate, so there's hope.
Okay, good. All right. So the police, when they come and go, is this a stolen car? They can call someone in England and go and ask them.
Yeah. And remember, they call it a number plate.
Very nice. All right, let's move on. Let's get off this car. Let's move on to the next car. We got a lot of cars to cover.
Let's do it.
Is the economy rocky? Let's figure it out. Should we be spending more time on BAT than Dow Jones? What's the next car on the list, Deeb?
All right, JP, we are going to take a quick peek at our 1988 Volkswagen Scirocco 16-valve. This is a Euro example, JP, and we dissected just those small increments from the Euro specification to the American. The American's cars make about 120, 123 horsepower. These Euro cars with the same motor but slightly higher compression and less restrictive exhaust and emissions tuning make about 137 horsepower. And I bet you feel the difference if you came right out of an American car and got into this. I bet you'd feel the difference. It sounds minute, but there's a few pieces that make the cool car. JP, I know you were oogling these Renault wheels, those super cool wheels. I love them on this car. I love the colorway. It does have a few miles on it. We're looking at 240,000 kilometers. And JP, doesn't it make you laugh when you see these old Volkswagens with the ZZZ VIN, just like the Euro Porsches, which I think is really cool. Out of Kearney, New Jersey, the interior, JP, is the only thing that kind of turned me off on the car. I thought the car would do pretty well, but then when we dove into it, it just wasn't showing any signs of life. So, JP, if this was an American car and it's just sort of an average one, our friends at Classic.com say that they bring $21,000. Our car was at like $6,000 when we covered it, and it was closing the next day. This was a Monday close on a Sunday show. I still went to $14,000 thinking this car would bring the money because of, to me, it's still that sort of gray market, unobtainium. It's the Euro example. You did not agree with me, and your bid reflected that. JP, you came in at $8,888. So, Rami, what do you think this Euro 16 valve that's got quite a few kilometers on the...
Yeah. First of all, why does it have a Porsche steering wheel?
Yeah,
that's the factory steering wheel, isn't it? Or did it say Porsche?
And I was like, yes, it says Porsche right on it. Go to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
It's from like a 928.
Yeah, they did put that. They bolt right up. It's VAGCOM, man. Back then, all that stuff was like you could eat.
Yep.
Yeah, that's funny.
I mean, I love this car. I think the wheels are dope. I love it. I mean, I don't know, Deeb. In my head, when you first showed it, I was like 10 grand. That's where I was all day long. 10
grand's a good.
It's got an awesome interior. It's a 16 valve everywhere. I love it. This is a great car. JP had one.
Yes.
Yeah.
JP's had several of these, but I don't think he's had a European one. So
The
Rami's
Euro
in at
ones
10
are so
grand.
cool.
Rami's in at 10 grand, and Rami, you would have been pretty close. Our car hammered at 10,500, but it failed to sell there. So JP, obviously this guy's holding out for more money. Let's just assume for a second he's in my neighborhood, 14, 15 grand. Do you think this car is worth it, or do you think he should have taken the 10.5?
Should have taken it.
Yeah, should. If he needs the money, he should have taken the 10.5. If he doesn't, then he should just drive this for the next year or so until the values of these start to go up again, if that's going to happen. This car, so when we talk about people paying attention to the economy, I hate to say it, but this is a bit of a bottom feeder, right? The Volkswagens just never bring a lot of money unless it's a Mark II, late model GTI with the big bumpers and stuff. Those are the only Volkswagens that really bring any money. Corrados never really bring more than 20 grand. Scirocco's never really bring more than 20 grand, occasionally. But, the Scirocco's just have such a narrow group of people that are really interested. And most of the people that are my age that had one when we were young have pretty much gotten one by now if we wanted one. And at this point, we probably don't. And anybody that wants this as their main kind of enthusiast car, they just don't. Those are the people that are suffering the most in this economy with prices, with, lingering inflation and, price spikes and that kind of thing. So I think cars like this that are more at the bottom of the collector range are going to continue to suffer. Rami, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. Agree. And they're going to suffer a little bit. And I think you're right, too. Like, it's a very narrow audience for this car. I love it. You love it. We love it because it's interesting, unique, and different, and is in a good price range. And it reminds us of our youth. But, the people who are going to spend that kind of money are going to want something, want something a little bit more poop to it. But I love, what really sells me on this car is the Euro spec.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's
the
cool.
smaller bumpers, the headlights that are two different sizes.
Yes.
The outer and then the inner. Yeah, all
and
those little things.
The flip. The flip. Like today, Europe's like emissions and this and that. And back then, they didn't care.
Yeah.
They were like,
They were
so
more lax.
Yeah. So I think that's just the uniqueness of the car being here in America is very cool.
Yeah. All right, guys, what do you think of this Scirocco? Should it have brought more? Should the seller have taken that amount of money, or should they sit and wait? Let us know what you think, and let's move on. What's the next car on the list, Michael Deeb?
All right, JP, we're going to circle right back to our 1991 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1. This is the first generation ZR1, so it's like the 1.1 in 1991. I think in 93, JP, they made a .2 of this that had over 400 horsepower, but this car is straddled by just making 375 horsepower and 370 pound-foot of torque. Still an absolute rocket ship, and just kind of a cool car. Red on red. And 5-speed, 6-speed manual. just 12,600 miles, and they're running it, JP, no reserve on Cars and Bids, Doug DeMiro's site. You and I basically sort of batted this one back and forth that we think that this is kind of the wrong site for this car.
JB's favorite site.
The effort here was so half-assed because the assets really don't live up to how cool this car should have been. JP, when I looked at comps for this car, looking at what the values are supposed to be and seeing what the last few cars have transacted, this car, as the economy has had kind of a rough start to the new year, this car has been suffering one of the most that we can imagine. You know, this should be a $40,000 or $50,000 car, and we wondered out loud if this car would even make it to 20 grand. So, JP, without further ado, our friends at Classic.com say the average selling price for a ZR1 from 1991 is $35,000. This car has particularly low miles, and yet neither one of us thought it would get to 20. So, JP, my bid was just $18,991, and your bid was $17,000. So you came in about $2,000 underneath me. So, Rami, the one thing I will remind you, just so you know that, because JP and I are always wrong,
yes,
this car was running no reserve. And when it runs no reserve, everybody's kind of in on it. So that's the only hint I'm going to give you. What do you think this car would have hammered for on Cars and Bids running no reserve?
No reserve. I like this car. I think it's funny. Yeah. I love the seats.
Fast.
It's fast. Yeah. And it's fast in a straight line.
Yes.
And like fun to drive. You could do burnouts and, drive it off a cliff. Who cares? That's what I would do. Just beat it and then drive it off a cliff. But I'm gonna go on the higher end of it. I'm gonna think I think it could get like 40 grand for that thing.
40 grand, you'd be a little bit over, but you'd still be closer than us. Our car hammered for $31,000 where it sold on 48 bids. So 31, JP, is right around the Classic.com average at 35. In my opinion, this guy actually did really well. And I don't think he deserved it based on the preparation of the assets for the sale. But he got it because he had the gumption to run it no reserve. I think that's where he won the day. Is that anybody who was an underbidder kept thinking, well, if I put 500 more,
yeah,
blah,
nonsense.
blah,
blah. No, it wasn't.
No? What do you think?
You and your stupid no reserve thing. The fact is we were just pitifully, abjectly, totally wrong on this. Our headspace wasn't in the right place.
That's because I wasn't here.
Rami wasn't here. This is a freaking ZR1. This isn't just a regular C4 vet. C4 vets are languishing, yes. But this car should be a $40,000, $50,000 car. If it were on BAT, even with these crappy assets, it would have gotten there. Chris Carbine is right. This was a pitiful miss by the nerds.
I agree.
I took my partner Michael Deeb's lead, which I shouldn't have, and I got dragged down into the muck and the mire. This car is a 6-speed back then was such a big deal. Nobody had 6 speeds back then.
Every
right?
guy named Vinny in Long Island had that car.
It's true. If Rami were here, he'd be like, "It's a CR1. We can drive it off a cliff.
What are you talking about, bro?"
All right.
Still
got a 6-speed. Six on the floor.
Still smells like Paco Rabanne.
Yep, and it just.
I've spent a lot of time
bit
in
of
the back
Car
of one of
Noir.
these. All right, guys, what do you think of the ZR1?
Yes.
Would it have brought more money on BAT, or is 31 grand all the money? And somehow Doug DeMiro found his audience. All the Corvettes are going to be going to Cars and Bids. All right, let us know in the comments. And before we get to the next car, I just wanted to shout out to the Nerd Herd. Looks like we got a lot of new names tonight in the Nerd Herd. Thank you so much for watching us live. It's a lot of fun to have you guys with us. It looks like most people have introduced themselves in the chat, and you're probably making a lot of friends because you're realizing really quickly the appeal of Bid Nerds aren't any of the yahoos on screen.
Nice.
It's everyone in the chat and all the great people that you're going to meet in the Nerd Herd. Spread the word, grow the herd. Let's move on. What is the next car? Yeah. We got to get to some predictions. We're still talking about our stuff from last week.
We have 5 cars to review, and we were late.
Let's go.
Let's go. Quick. Stop talking. Let's get to this 993. Go do it. Go do it. Oh, my God.
Wow.
All right.
It's
so
lowered.
we covered Auto Avia's 1996 Porsche 911 Carrera Coupe. This was Jason Roth, who we had on the show, brought this car that he purchased to market now that he's been christened with a dealer license in the state of Washington. Our car, Rami, is a two-wheel drive manual transmission with 102,000 miles. But where it gets exciting is this is essentially paint to sample iris blue. It has the factory hardback sports seats, and it was also optioned with the MO30 sport suspension, sport chassis. So while the car does have aftermarket Bilstein B6 dampers and H&R lowering springs, all the other geometry and components in the suspension are part of the MO30 package, which makes this car handle really, really well from the factory. So Jason enlisted the help of his friend Dino to list the car on BAT, and they've got this great photographer. They shot it out at the airport somewhere in the Seattle, Redmond area, and got these fantastic photos of the car at the golden hour. And then Dino is essentially Jason Roth's Michael Deeb. He goes on there and handled the auction really, really well. So big shout out to Jason and to Dino for doing such a great job bringing that very special car to market. Now, the mileage is the thing, right? So there's a patina on the front end, lots of rock chips, and then there was a ton of miles on the car at $102,000. According to our friends at Classic.com, a standard C2 coupe manual from 1996 is just $86,000. JP, I went all in on the car because of the trifecta: paint to sample, hardback sports seats, and the MO30 sports suspension. I thought they'd overlook the odometer and love the paint so much they wouldn't care about the patina. My bid was all in at $106,000. JP, you took the under just below $100,000 at $99,300. Rami, according to Classic.com, the average is $86,000. What do you think this car would have hammered for with a beautiful presentation on BAT?
On BAT, huh?
Yeah,
tough. I'm gonna go with 92,000.
92,000. You'd be closer than both of us. In fact, you'd have won this one. Our car hammered for just $87,500 where it sold on 27 bids. So listen, Jason is thrilled to get rid of to move on from the car. I said get rid of it, but I mean to sell the unit. It's kind of his first public auction with the Auto Avia, being handling the transaction and all that sort of thing. And obviously he's working with a great guy, because look at these photos and the again, the engagement and all the stuff. The driving videos were all off the chart. So congratulations to Jason. Congratulations to Dino, who we hope to meet very soon here. Hopefully on some project in the future, we can link up with Dino. But Jason, well done. Congratulations. I really thought the car would have bought more, just because of how special the build was. But JP, is this similar to my C2 hot rod, where again, we always want the cars to do better, but it's a funny time of year? Or do you think people didn't appreciate it? Or does the odometer scare people out of the room when it turns 100,000 miles? What do you make of that result? Or do you think that's all the money?
Yeah, I think the car did pretty good, and I don't think that the color is that special. I know that a lot of people really go gaga over blues, but this isn't one of the special blues. This is kind of a run-of-the-mill blue, and it's polarizing for a lot of people. If you're going to get a Porsche that's a fancy color, a lot of PCA people just go ape shit when it comes to crazy colors. This just isn't a crazy color. It kind of looks like Honda blue or something like that. So, and don't get me wrong, I think the car is beautiful, and I love the ride height. This is a great driver spec 993, and the miles and the rock chips and this, that, and the other little imperfections were enough to keep this car from breaking the $100,000 mark. Beautiful car. Somebody got a great car, and I think that this is, this goes with the economy right now. People are pulling back just a little bit, but it's not like the values of these are plummeting. It's just not like a year and a half ago when this car would have easily broken $100,000.
That's
Rami,
right.
what do you think?
Hey, I agree with you. And I think to the two of you, assets, right? And it's like, even with good assets, it still brought a reasonable price for the car, which I was thinking when I said my bid, because the miles are high. And the paint it looks awesome, but it's not Mexico, that would be different. and it's like, I just don't think the car has that kind of value. Maybe a year ago, yes. And maybe in a year from now, yes. But right now, no. I think it's right where it should be.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go.
A great car, and this one's
a great car.
Yeah, so there's been some comments on the assets, the photos, and that kind of thing. Some of the photos are really good, some of them not so much. I mean,
Correct.
the lead photo, it's kind of it's tough when you shoot during the day. This is a very difficult photo to take. The background is way overexposed here, which means you need a whole bunch of extra light on the car. Like this shot is brilliant.
That's a good
that
shot.
should have been the main shot.
One.
That one's actually really good. That one's not so much.
Go
Huh?
Go back one, JP.
Go back one. That one.
Yeah,
That
that's the lead photo.
That's the stunner. Oh, okay. That's a
That
great
was
shot.
lead
that's
photo?
the lead
Yeah.
photo. That's the lead
Good
photo.
photo.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right, cool.
All right, guys, let's move on from the 993.
Let's keep going.
Was that? Oh, we still have one more car from
Come
the
on.
last episode.
Yeah, let's
Jeez,
go.
let's
Yeah.
go. We're too long.
All right. 2018 Bentley
Fast,
Bentayga,
dude,
whatever,
fast.
W12. Yeah, there you go. Car's got
It's
34,000
sold. We're
miles.
done.
And yeah, JP,
How much?
according to classic.com, they bring 101,000. I said 78. You said 69.9. Rami, what do you think these cars are bringing
50.
in the secondary
I hate
market?
those cars.
50. All right, cool. And it brought 70. JP, you missed a Yahtzee by $1. We're
Wow.
not giving it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not giving it to
The
you.
Yahtzee
There
costs
you
$1.
go. So, again, is that a reflection of the economy, or is that a reflection of Bentleys being soft in the secondary market no matter what?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different people. Like the richest 1% owns half the stock. What they don't own are Bentleys. Typically, really, really rich people don't flex like this. This is just conspicuous consumption, right? Anybody that's driving this around, they want to. Oh, look, I've got a hip hop album dropping on Friday, right? So that's why they want to go cruise this down the strip.
Selling CDs on the strip.
Right. Anybody that owns one of these is leveraged to the frickin' hilt. They are either renting it by the day, or
they've
they're
got
paying
5 people buying, praying for it.
25% interest somewhere, and like the repo guys don't even want to try to get these because they're depreciating so fast that it's just
They'll get stuck.
they'll be stuck with it. It's just going to sit in their lot and take up room when they could go repo some poor family's, Toyota
God.
Sienna and actually get real money at the auction for this.
True,
Nobody wants
true.
these things. They are,
my
talking
God.
about, they're spiraling the bucket. All right, let's get to some predictions. We're going to do that right after this. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair. All right, we are back, and we are looking forward to going up and visiting our friends at Our Smiths in Idaho on May 10th at the Cars. Actually, it's the Air and Coffee show by our good friends Kelly Smith and Curious Office. That is going to be that is shaping up to be I think that's going to be a way cooler show than the Air and Water
Air
show
and Water.
this
Yeah.
weekend in LA,
Yeah.
right?
Are you going to drive the LS3 up there or what?
Hopefully
quite
he's going to have the
possibly.
930.
Well, yeah, we were
There's
talking
that.
about, Rami, we were talking about getting the LS car up to Idaho
Boise.
and selling it there.
Oh, yeah, do
because,
that.
all of the...
That way you can buy the 930.
That's right, because I need the money, all right? So sell the
me the
LS
money.
car in Idaho,
Let's do it. Let's
where
do it.
people are into both muscle cars and Porsches.
Most
And
people
might-
won't know it's not 930 anyway.
All right, moving on. All right,
on,
guys,
let's
let's get to it. Just so you guys know, a lot of people have been asking us because we've been talking about it a lot. The Bid Nerds are now repping your cars. If you want to or are thinking about selling your classic or collectible car on Bring a Trailer, but don't want to, deal with the hassle of collecting and getting those assets and dealing with the people in the chat, then give us a shout out on the Instagram, on our Instagram page for Bid Nerds, and you can reach myself and Michael Deeb, and we are happy to help you sell your car on BAT. Let us know, and we'll get you hooked up. All right, let's move on. Michael Deeb, are you ready to make some predictions? I am.
Let's do it.
Let's go, JP. All right. Our first car is a rest of the world 1993 Porsche 911 Turbo
Ooh.
3.6. Now, we didn't get this motor specification until 1994, but this motor was available in 1993 around the world. So utilizing a ZZZ VIN, our friends at Symbolic International in San Diego, California have listed this as a premium listing on Bring a Trailer. This 3.6 has 100,000 kilometers, which is about 62,000 miles. It looks stunning in Amazon green metallic paint with a black full leather upholstery. It's got the 18-inch speed lines, the big red brakes, and sports seats, which is just fantastic. JP, this car is just kind of, sort of holy grail-ish today.
Yeah.
But a nice car, and you kind of wonder, will the odometer and the ZZZ VIN sort of hold it back from the ultimate value that some of these cars are bringing? We covered one of these, I think, just a few weeks ago. That was in a beautiful color. It was it like tin metallic or some weird colorway, JP, that we had never heard of. These cars are just so cool, and they rarely come up. Yet we've had two in a few weeks, and I just thought we could take another look at one and see if this one would wind up being of value when it hammered on Bring a Trailer. So, JP, I sort of toss it right back over to you. Spectacular car. Dude, what do you think of the colorway? I know you don't dig blue, but is this color dark enough that at night when you walked out to your car, it might look black and then you'd like it?
This is, in my opinion, personally, the worst Porsche color of all time. I absolutely hate this. It's that, I mean, I was making fun of that 993 for being Honda blue. Every Honda Accord in 1993 was this color. Every car in America was this teal bluish color.
That is
I think
true.
is just the worst. And, you know, this is such a beautiful car that it just doesn't matter. This car could be any color, and it's just going to look great. I love the Cup 1 wheels that are, you know, the dished out Cup 1 wheels. They look so good. This car, I just, on the color, but who cares, because it's a 964 turbo, and that might be the greatest car of all time. Rami, what do you think of this car? You've got a car that is a great color.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got a Ruby Stone one, but this one is, I like the color, JP. I agree with you. It doesn't matter, the color. There's something, I don't know what it is about a 964 turbo. There's something so iconic about it and so amazing. Even over a 930, it's just, it's like screams classic Porsche all the time. Like anytime you see it, you're like, anyway, I was at Gotten today, and they had one there, 3.6, and they were working on it, and I was just, I couldn't stop staring at it. And I had all these exotic cars, and I just couldn't stop staring at it. I think those cars are just the eyeball on it. And in real life, when you see them driving around, they're amazing. Amazing car. It's got the turbo seats. It looks like it's in really good condition. It's decent miles on it. It's my kind of car. I love ZZZs. You know, so all my cars are. You know, so
ZZZ top.
ZZZ top. Yeah.
All
so
right.
I love it. I love it. Just whoever buys this car, it's going to be fabulous.
All right. Deeb, what's it going to bring?
All right, JP, it says the car has not been inspected by the California Bureau of Automotive Repair and Air Resources. I think that means that you can't drive it on the street because they haven't inspected it and figured out what it is yet. So it sounds like they brought it in, but whoever buys it might be titling it in the lower 48 for the first time, assuming that's what happens with the car. Without further ado, JP, our car is currently sitting at $257,000, and it closes in 2 days from now. According to Classic.com, the average selling price of a 3.6 is $345,000. Now, I was surprised that tin car didn't go higher, but I think this car is also going to come in right around the average. I'm going to say $350,000 for my bid and pass it to you, JP. So $350,000 for this car. In other words, it needs about another $93,000 until hammers, and then it'll sell at my number. Where are you at?
Yeah, it's a buyer's market. This car is going to do well because it is so pretty, and Porsche people love these weird colors. That usually brings a premium, but I don't think anything's bringing a premium right now. I think I have to go a little bit under what Classic.com says. So I'm going to go, what'd they say, 345? I'm going to go 340,964 and hand it off to Rami. What do you think?
What is it selling on?
Bring a trailer.
Bring a trailer? Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go over, and I'm going to say 450.
450? You think it's going to break 400? Wow.
It's a 3.6?
No, it's...
Yep.
Is it?
Isn't it?
It is a 3.6.
It's a 3.6, man. Those are going up like crazy. The 3.6s are climbing, and so are the S's. I don't know why. I think it's collectors, but I've been watching these, and they just keep doing that. They keep going up, and it's like, what is happening? So I could be wrong, but I mean, that's where I see it going.
That is the freaking problem with producing this show is I'm trying to hit the buttons and I'm doing all the things.
Yes.
And I missed. I thought this was I didn't realize this was a 3.6. I definitely would have gone over. I can't change my bid. That's bid nerd rules. I still am a little bearish though. I don't think it'll break 400. But I think it wouldn't surprise me if it is. You're right, Rami. The 3.6s are a much more special deal.
Such a
Went
special
right over
car.
my head trying to produce this stupid show. Can somebody from the Nerd Herd come in here and produce it, and I'll actually just hang out?
Can somebody from the Nerd Herd just come here and smack him on the head?
Yeah, last purple car bought for $550. What Euro Corner saying? Wow.
There you go.
our tin car a couple of weeks ago hammered for 520,000. That was super low miles, and it was a paint to sample color. This car has much higher miles. It's a regular range color, and it's a gray market car, which is why Rami might be in the hunt, but JP, I feel like this car is going to be closer to the average. So we'll see what happens when this one hammers. But there you go.
Yep.
All right. I
Great car.
still think that whatever you're going to get more information watching the results of that beautiful 964 on BAT than you are paying attention to the stock market when it comes to what's going on with the economy. All right, let's get to the next car. What do we got?
All right, so our buddy Bailey Smith, general manager of Club Wheelhouse, his friend is selling his mother's car, and so we are just going to take a quick peek. I mean, why not? It's a submission, right? The cars in bids right now is this 2006 Aston Martin DB9 Volante that is running no reserve on Doug DeMero's site right now. So if you've ever wanted a V12 convertible, jump on over and find your new shuttle ride to the clubhouse in this car here. 21,700 miles from
if
new.
It makes it.
V12. Yeah, if it makes it. Lucas Electronics.
Exactly.
The big thing here is that the car is running no reserve. It is the automatic 6-speed. This car was available with a manual. I've driven the manuals. They're not as special as you quite think they were. I think the DBSs were, more sporty, but this is a real country club car if ever there was one. The car is listed on a clean Tennessee title out of Brentwood, Tennessee. And we wish everybody involved a little bit of luck. Again, it's running no reserve. It's a classic colorway. It's a V12 Aston from an era when I thought the cars were really, really pretty. I mean, that photo right there, I do love the lines on this car. It's just funny how they were on the softer side of a Grand Tour and not as performance oriented as the stance of the car would lead you to believe. So they were always kind of a bummer that they weren't a little harder core. But man, for the demographic, these cars were great, and they kind of helped Aston Martin sort of have a little renaissance here in the United States. And so they're still making great cars today. Now they use Mercedes engines, and the things are absolute rocket ships. Yeah. But this was an Aston derived V12 motor. There's no warranty available for this thing. So you make sure you have a real good mechanic if you're looking to bid. But this one's running no reserve. Jump over there and help a brother out. Here's a cool car. JP, any love for DB9 Volante? Here's your Cabriolet. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful car, and it's very cool. But, again, this is one of those baller on the budget things. These things depreciate so horribly. No one is – the people that want an Aston Martin want a brand spanking new one. They want to make their lease payments on it for, whatever – 12 months, 24 months, and then they want to turn it back in on another one. Once they get turned in after that lease, this is going to get parked right next to that Bentley Bentayga whatever thing at the repo lot. This car's going nowhere fast.
Bottom of the barrel.
I think it's a great idea that they're like the seller is being realistic, going, okay, let's go no reserve. Why cars and bids? Why wouldn't you go no reserve on BAT? That's where you're going to get the benefit of that whole no reserve thing. Rami, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, these cars they're gorgeous. Like, they're beautiful cars, all of them. The swan doors, the whole thing, but they're just tragically slow. And that was the thing that killed me about the car when I drove it years ago. But it's beautiful, and it's the ultimate Grand Tour, right? I mean, that's what it is. I love it.
Rami's the only person in the room or in the world that's like, oh, that 12-cylinder is tragically slow.
I know. 450 horsepower. And
I took him for a test drive.
That's a relative
drive in Florida, and I was like, this thing's slow. And the dealer looked at me. He's like, what?
It is not slow. It's just not as fast as a built 964 turbo with 700 horsepower or something.
Rami's going to buy
a great car. Go ahead.
Rami's gonna buy it and put a supercharger on it and long tube headers and that pineapple dial it in.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Then it would be great.
I want to see that 4-liter Whipple supercharger sticking out of the hood of this car. That would be badass.
On a V12. That would be
now
awesome.
We're talking.
And then it'll just blow up.
Deeb, what's it gonna bring?
All right, so again, super low miles on this 2006, just 21,000 miles from new, one owner, V12, 6-speed automatic, running no reserve on Doug DeMero's site. Currently, JP, it's got 1 day to go to close. It's at $24,000 on 20 bids. JP, according to our friends at Classic.com, they say that the average selling price for an Aston Martin DB9 Volante with an automatic transmission is just $47,000. If it had the manual, the average selling price would go up by 20 grand. It would be $67,000. But the automatics don't bring as much. So JP, I think this car is going to basically double in value by tomorrow. I'm going to give you my bid at $40,000. 7 under the average because I just think they're soft right now. But I think running no reserve, the mistake we made on the Corvette, even though you don't agree with me, I think this car will break or just get to 40 grand and sell. JP, what's your bid?
What was the average from Classic.com?
47.
Yeah, I mean, this car, look, I hope is Buddha watching? Michael Myers, Buddha's watching. He's saying 16 grand. Buddha, this is your car. You were looking for the $40,000 car. Dude, this is it. This is the one. This is the flashy car that you need to go get. Buddha, you'd look really good driving down the Las Vegas Boulevard and going to Jive Turkey. Hell yeah, this is all Buddha all the time. Buddha, you need this car. And I think you're going to be able to buy it for $32,000. Michael Deeb is going to be wrong. Rami, what do you think?
I say 37.5 just because I think it's got some it's a good car and all that, but it's not a manual. I didn't realize it wasn't manual. So
yeah, it's automatic. 6-speed
doubles
automatic.
on cars and bids. All right,
maybe
guys.
not. And just tell Buddha to watch out for the glitter. That's all.
JP, give me your bid again because I didn't quite hear you.
32 grand.
32 grand. Well, me and Philip Craig are in lockstep at 40,000. So all you other fools are going to suffer when we Yahtzee this thing.
Boom. All right. What's the next car on the list? What do we got?
All right, JP, we are going to take a quick peek at a car. So I think I've got one of these coming through Club Wheelhouse. We'll see. But let's take a little deep dive on this 1969 Mercedes-Benz 280 SE Cabriolet with a 4-speed manual transmission. Now, JP, there's photos of this car being repainted sometime under either this ownership or prior ownership, but the car looks really beautiful in this like sort of forest green metallic with the, sort of saddle color interior. It's a manual transmission car. Now, this one is the smaller motor. It's the 2.8 liter inline 6, which is not going to scare you with the horsepower. But these things drive so beautifully, and this is at an era when Mercedes-Benz built cars like bank vaults, and they really sort of isolated you from all of the feedback that a car would give you. Essentially, what they were trying to do is make it so that you arrived not feeling like you had been on a drive, so the car, the seats feel like you're in a couch, and the cars are just oozing with class. This car is on Bring a Trailer. It's located down in San Clemente, California. And these pictures of the top down on a sunny day, even though, you and I, JP, would not shoot at this hour of the day, somehow this guy gets away with it because the car looks so good. How do you not want to be behind the wheel of that car, rowing your own gears in this big inline 6? So I've learned a few things. These cars in this generation came with what they call a high grill and then a low grill. The low grill is more square, and they bring actually considerably more money. The high grill, I guess, is considered old-fashioned, and while these cars still bring big money, it's the low grills that bring fortune. This is a high grill example. So JP, there's one sort of circling that I might represent one of these days coming up. I thought it'd be fun to take a deep dive on a car like this. I don't know that we've ever covered this generation of Mercedes, at least not that anything comes to memory. This one looked cool in an unusual colorway. The fact that it's not black or like a cream white,
beautiful. It's
this metallic green, and the manual gearbox, I thought too much
manual?
Fun as we roll into spring. 4-speed manual transmission. So JP, have you ever driven one of these old Mercedes? Do you remember like that big, huge steering wheel that's made of like, some sort of precious bone or whatever it is? These things they're so cool. How badass would this car be on the strip next to your Oldsmobile Tornado?
Next to the Tornado? Oh my
man.
God.
Yeah, how wonderful. No, I mean, I've driven 240, what is it? Don't they make a 240D? And, I've driven 240Ss that were, hard tops and automatics that are just, now we're talking about cars that are tragically slow. This car, with the stick is going to actually feel like it's doing something. It may not actually be fast, but that's the beauty of having 3 pedals. This does not look like a car that would have 3 pedals. And I am almost going to, I might even say it out loud that this car would probably be better off if it had 2 pedals. I don't know. This is what a gorgeous car. What a lot of fun. Very classy. Buddha, since he's in the conversation, he thinks that the color looks a little too modern for the era of the car. And I kind of agree with him. I like this car in a silver or a black. I mean, that's what makes it extra classic. But I'm sure someone will disagree and people will go nutty on this one. What do you think? This car
is gorgeous. Is this the car from The Hangover?
That's what I was wondering. I think
it's
the
is,
other isn't it the other headlights though, the more expensive one?
I don't know. But
whatever. Who knows? I mean,
knows?
it doesn't matter. But it's that same generation. They
that.
made him with a 3.5, and they also came with automatic and a different grille. I don't know which one's in the Hangover.
Does it have AC?
But yeah, it's essentially this car. Yes, it does.
Wow, it has AC. See, I love the classic dashboard with the two round. Like there was a point where they just had the center one and not the two round, and it was later on. This is a very cool car. It's a cool car.
Yeah,
the dashes. It's gorgeous.
What's it gonna bring, Deeb?
It's great.
All right, JP. According to our friends at Classic.com, a 1969 280 SE Cabriolet with the 2.8 liter and a high grille is a $152,000 car.
Yeah.
Our car has been repainted. I'm not 100% positive that that's the original color. Buddha might be right, but it says moss green metallic paint, so they do have a name for the paint, which leads me to believe that it might be original. And if it is an original colorway, I think it's kind of rare. But man, I don't know, John, it's just tough. And I kind of agree with you. While I think it'd be really cool to have the manual, I bet most people that are shopping prefer the automatic. Yes. So I don't know if the manual brings a premium here. So JP, I'm just going to temper my bid. Instead of going with Classics average at 152, my bid is going to come in at 138,000. The car is sitting at $97,000 and it closes in 4 days. That's on just 6 bids. So we've got, this is a Sunday close right before we come back on the air. It's at 97.5. But JP, I just think it's going to be held back for some reason. I'm going to go 138. Where are you at?
Wow.
Man, that is so close to the number I was going to do. I was trying to look at some pictures underneath this car to see if it was, if it had any like a different original color. It looks like it's green through and through. So hopefully this is, a repaint of the original color. But yeah, I just think, this is, I hate to say it, but this is kind of a, boomer car or older. The stuff that's these cars, there's just not a lot of people looking for stuff like this. Right. When you look at 60s and 70s cars, they're going down in value generally. This car doesn't, if it were silver and you could go, hey, look, it's the Hangover car like the movie, like you said, Rami, maybe you could kind of bank on some of that nostalgia, but I'm going to go under you, Deeb. I'm going to say 129, 280 and hand it off to Rami. What do you think?
Rami, the guy who pays too much for cars. I'm going to say 147 because I love it. I think it's a great car, and I think the stick is very, very unique, very different. Yeah. All these guys.
Give me your number again.
147.
You going to bid on it?
Okay, thank you, Rami.
I'm thinking of bidding on it, yes.
I thought you guys were going to buy me the Tornado. I thought everyone was chipping in.
I might buy you the Tornado.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that. Yeah.
She just looks so good in it with that hat.
Yeah.
With the hat and the other glasses, I'm definitely, and I was basically trying to sit in the middle.
I saw your video. It looked good.
So I've got that video. Right now there is a driving video, just a regular basic test drive video of the Tornado on the Bid Nerds YouTube channel. And tomorrow, tomorrow will be our featurette on Cars Unknown. So that's coming out tomorrow. Look for that, and that will be, both of those will be in the ad. All right, very exciting stuff. Love this Mercedes. What do you guys think?
Mercedes is beautiful.
Rob, you know why that video is coming out tomorrow? Because it's not done yet.
Actually, it is.
Oh, yeah?
It just needs color. That's it. We're doing the color grading. Means.
Shocking.
So one thing like people have been saying, hey, look, JP is rarely wrong, and look at this. Okay, they're giving me a hard time because I was actually wrong about something. I am the one guy in the history of the world that is 100% right all the time, even when I'm wrong most of the time. Okay, let's move on. What's the last car on the list?
You should watch.
It's math, guys. Do the math.
Yeah, do the math. Watch when he directs. Then he's really never wrong.
Never.
All right.
Spoken by someone who's been there. Deeb, what's the last car on the list? Let's get to this thing.
JP, let's take a deep dive on the Ferrari 458 Italia. This one is a 2010, and it's running on Bring a Trailer with pretty fair miles at just 28,000 miles from new. Bianco Avis Pearl, which is going to be a white pearl, Bianco Avis, which is a white paint job. It's got black leather upholstery. What's really cool about this one, from my eye, is that it's got the carbon fiber racing seats. Now, if you've ever sat in a GT3 and you're like, wow, these seats are really cool, but I don't know if I'd want to live with those seats because they're kind of uncomfortable to get in and out of. This era of Ferrari racing seats are super, super comfortable and simultaneously, miraculously, very easy to get in and out of, and they're really beautiful to look at. So what's interesting, JP, is that these are the last normally aspirated mid-engine Ferraris that they made. And as such, a couple of years ago, they had diminished. You could buy a nice one like this. This car would have sold for somewhere between $160,000 and $180,000. These cars are on the up. Yeah. These cars are bringing really good money today. So 458 Italia's collectors are bringing big money. The car that came after this is forced induction, the 488. And 488s are really soft. So it's entirely possible that if you had two cars that were kitted out sort of the same and you had similar mileage, that the older 458 would bring more money than the 488. So I thought it'd be fun. We haven't looked at one of these in a while. Let's take a quick peek. Ceramic brakes. A fantastic dual clutch transmission that shifts lightning fast, comfortable car. These cars rev. It's a bummer they didn't make this car with a manual because those cars would be worth a fortune if they did. But you could, if you had deep pockets, you could buy one of these and do a manual conversion. That is possible. It has been done. Yes. And I imagine I've never seen one or driven one, but I sold Ferraris when these cars were new. I love this car. It's super fun to drive. It's a bummer that you're not more engaged with the manual, but the cars handle really well. They sound fantastic. They're super comfortable to drive. They've been pretty bulletproof, and now they're rising in value. So JP, I hand you the last of an era, the 2010 458 Italia. What do you think? Any love, or does the automatic and the fact that it's a mid-engine Ferrari make you just go, whatever?
Well, I like the mid-engine Ferrari thing, but honestly, the Dino, the 308 GT4 that we're going to be selling here also under the Bid Nerds moniker, awesome. Way cooler car than this. This car will blow the absolute wheels off of it, but who cares? The Dino, you can row through the gears yourself with 3 pedals. Rami, you did a review on one of these, a Spider version, on your YouTube channel. If you guys are watching, go check out the Rami show on YouTube and check out his review of the 458 Italia that he did. Rami, what was your impression of these cars? What do you think of these?
I like this car. It's like you said, naturally aspirated, so lots of fun to drive. It can be tail happy if you want it, or it can just drive around town. And when you change modes, it definitely has a difference. My cousin actually has this car, and he drives it all the time, and he loves it, and he's not a driver. So I took him for a ride in it, and I'm, throwing it around and doing power slides, and he was like, I didn't know the car could do this. And so it's like, but it's a fun
the big
car.
pedal on the right.
Yeah, but the problem is the big pedal on the right's no problem. It's this thing, steering. But it's a really fun car to drive. I like it a lot. I mean, it's automatic, but for what they're priced at right now, I think it's a reasonable buy. But I didn't. Deeb, you said that the 488s are softer.
Yeah, softer.
Wow.
They're really soft right now. Yeah.
So Spider low mileage Spiders are bringing now over $300,000, which is close to what they were a sticker. Yeah. And you could buy a same low mileage Spider 488 for like $250,000. So you'd save about $50,000 to get a way faster car. If you're not speculating on future value, that's the value grab is something like that. So,
interesting.
But these cars, Rami, this car has 560 horsepower. It's got, just enough poop to get out of its own way. And like you said, if you adjust the thing, you can turn off the traction control and absolutely drive this car.
What's it going to bring?
Yeah, they're really cool.
Let's get to some numbers.
All right,
Very little time.
Okay, so according to our friends at Classic.com, the average selling price for a 2010 458 Italia, which is the first year the car came out, it ran for a while, is just $185,000. I think this car is going to do just a little bit better than that. It's currently sitting at $140,000, and it closes in 2 days. I think it's going to bring $201,000 where it hammer, sell, and make everybody happy, including me, when I get a Yahtzee. JP, $201,000 to you. Over or under?
I'm going to go just a little under. I'm going to say $199,000, 458, and hand it off to Rami.
And I'm going to say $210,000.
$210,000. He's going over.
$210,000. Very good.
Making it tough on Michael D being in the sandwich.
All right.
Yeah, guys. Thanks for watching, everyone in the Nerd Herd. People are watching here. Some people were talking about the Toronado video. Let's see here. Philip Craig said, "Hey, fix the exhaust on the Toronado." Okay,
Yes.
I just want to bring something up here because my partner Michael Deeb always bitches that I don't have enough engine noise, and Mike the exhaust is his favorite old phrase, but
Can't say it anymore.
He got rid of that. Thank you for doing that, Michael Deeb. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Don't say that
Can't
phrase
say it.
anymore.
Can't say it.
This is what happens when you mic the exhaust. Everyone tells you to fix the exhaust. This car is really not actually that loud.
It's not.
The test drive video makes it sound a heck of a lot louder than it is because I was trying to add. I brought the levels up a little bit, and I
But
did put a
JP,
mic
it
in the
has
back.
a great sound.
It does. It has a
And
great
it's
grumble, right?
It's surprising for the era of car.
Yeah.
and it doesn't. It's not as loud as in the video, but it just it also has auditorily, like if that's a word.
Yeah.
It just has such a nice bassy sound to it that it's just pleasing. You want to just cruise it.
That's right.
Please.
All right, guys. Talking about good sounds here, we're going to take you out with the Kremer teas. We will see you Sunday.